to address some of those issues and address those issues from an Islamic perspective, and after that provide some practical solutions. So we will address some challenges. We will spend a few minutes addressing those challenges. We will then provide Islam's perspective on those challenges, and then some practical solutions based on those challenges that we face. Simple, 3-4-step process. So the beneficial Muslim. So keep this in mind throughout this dars today. So some of the challenges that we're facing in our community, and I keep saying this, I've been here for almost 9 months, 10 months, etc. And as your Imam, I'm learning every single day of what's happening in the community, and needless to say, with all due respect, the perspective that I get of the community is a unique perspective. All of us sitting here may believe this is happening, that is happening, but the reality is that people reach out to me, or I get brought into situations, and the perspective that I have as a third person perspective, as the Imam, who is trying to be as unbiased and fair and the well-wisher, the khair kha for everyone, I'm here to tell you that the perspective that I have, without respect, no one else has. And that's logically, we have to accept that. We could sit here and we think, okay, this is what's happening, but the reality is, what I get to see is what you don't get to see every day. And I wish to address some of those challenges that I'm facing, that we are facing as a community, inshallah ta'ala. And then we will talk about why do they exist, why do these challenges exist from my perspective, from a third person perspective as the Imam, right? And then we will bring in Islam's perspective. That okay, these issues exist because of, for example, 3 reasons. So that as your Imam, I will attempt to provide Islam's perspective to address those challenges. And then we basically have just literally 2 or 3 practical solutions. We don't want to have a laundry list of items that we want to do and overwhelm ourselves, burn ourselves out, and then whatever time that we have spent today, it goes down the drain. So the goal, as I mentioned on the slide, the goal is to bring the community closer together. The goal, as your Imam, is to bring the community closer together. That's the goal. And to utilize this amazing place that we have here, CIC, and utilize this acreage that we have, literally 18 and a half, 19 acres of land, and then this facility that we have classrooms, we have all of these things going for us. But then what are the challenges that I'm seeing that we're facing as a community that we need to address so that we could utilize this place to the maximum capacity? So the goal is to bring the community closer together. And I don't care, I think by now you could attest, I don't care where you're from, I don't care what language you speak. Alhamdulillah, chances are I can speak your language, right? I don't care where you're from. And I try to be as approachable as possible. Yes, literally I have to run in for an appointment or whatever, but I try to give my personal time to as many people as I can to ensure that I'm approachable by everyone, even youngsters, even kids. Right? So as your Imam, I've mentioned this earlier, there's this unique perspective that I'm presenting to you, to the community. And just to keep it brief, practical, focused, again, I don't believe in having like 20 items. To have 20 items or 30 items, okay, here are the issues, and we have 30 solutions. No, practical, 2-3 things at a time, simple. So that we can remember, and we could do whatever we can to address these challenges. So number 1, quote unquote, we're too busy. We're too busy. And I am saying this, please don't take me wrong. I'm not saying that, okay, I'm going off on this rant, or I'm complaining that what is going on, everyone's busy. I'm not complaining, trust me. Right? I am not complaining. Do not take this wrong. Don't go back and say, oh, Yasir is overwhelmed, is burned out, What do I mean by that? Our priorities, we need to readdress our priorities. We need to rearrange our priorities. There are instances where I may approach someone to do something and then it gets lost into oblivion. Right? Oh, I don't have the time. Let's talk about this for a few seconds, right? All of us have the same 24 hours in a day. You have the same 24 hours, I have the same 24 hours. None of us were born with any kind of privilege that we get more time out of our days than nights. All of us are literally going through the same time, same calendar, same years, everything. We're all in it together. We need to ask ourselves that what is the purpose of my existence? Is the purpose of my existence to literally make money, retire, and then move on to the next life? Or is there a bigger purpose? Right? Is my purpose just to earn, just to provide for my family, keyword my family, and address my own needs, and then retire and then move on? Is that literally my focus? Is this like my limited world? Is this my bubble? That, okay, from home I go to work and come back to work. Okay, maybe you're lucky if you have a third space, right? That you socialize, you go out with friends, etc. So you may have a triangle, right? So home, work, back. Home, work, right? Sounds like homework, right? Then you have a third space, you could create a triangle, right? Based on our priorities, we schedule our days, right? And some of us are working 8 hours a day, 10, 12 hours a day, but then what are we doing with those 5, 6 hours that we have at home? Okay. All of us have this time that we're relaxing. Yes, one thing is that we're extremely busy, but the reality is all of us do take out some time for self-care, we do take out time to relax a little bit, etc. Where are our priorities? In other words, just to be direct, are my priorities myself first? Meaning, am I a selfish Muslim, or am I a selfless, or do I have some kind of selflessness within me? Do I worry about my children only? Do I worry about my job, or my car, my house, my money? Is our vocab limited to me, mine, I? Or are we using we, ours, etc.? This is something really important we need to ask ourselves. When we say we are too busy, what are we actually saying? That I don't have time for you, Yasir. I don't have time for you. I'm not saying everyone quit their jobs and line up. I'm not saying that. We all have to earn our halal rizq to raise our kids and provide everything we need to. But we all have some time that we could spare to do something good with our lives, to give back to society, etc., which I'm going to get into the next few minutes. So, honestly, ask ourselves, what are we actually saying when we're saying we're too busy? Because there are issues in the community that we are going to address, inshallah ta'ala, and practical solutions for that as well. Number two, from my humble perspective, from my perspective that I see, there is this cultural versus Islam perspective that's going on. Like, for example, chances are when I go to a janazah, 90+% of the people there will belong to the same ethnicity that's being buried. So, for example, if there's a Pakistani who passed away, 90+% will be Pakistanis praying the janazah. Someone from Fiji Islands passed away, 90%. I'm not even exaggerating. 90% of the people will show up as Fijians. Someone from the Arab community, from Palestine, Libya, anywhere else from our Bilad al-Arab, they pass away, 90+%. I see it almost every single time. So what is this? This is not Islam, this is culture. Now logically speaking, the same, I would argue, okay, you could disagree, you could take it back, and you could disagree, and that's up to you, that's fine. But the argument that I'm making is that the same avenues, or the same ways we find out of a janazah, we are selective. We find out of the janazah, we are selective. The first question that I hear from a lot of people, oh, one unique experience that I see, like almost every single time at the Qabristan, at the Maqbara. Right? That 90+% of the people attending the janazah are only people that belong to that person's home country. That's a problem. Why is it that I'm only going to janazahs or attending funerals or sharing my condolences and I'm being selective about it? Oh, this person's from my country, I'm going to show up. That's not Islam. This is the reason why we're so divided. We're not close enough as we need to be to get some work done over here. And I see this perspective. A lot of us may not even realize this, and I'm telling you, there are some blessed souls that show up to every janazah. Again, I'm not generalizing everybody, everyone's like this. No. Give and take 10-15% are people that show up regardless of who this person was. It don't matter. That's not Islam. Islam teaches us to show up to the maqbara regardless of who this person was. You could apply the same thing to someone who's getting sick or someone who's going through any kind of mental illness. Right? We're selective. We have this mentality, we have this psychological map or this tiered system, right? Is it my family? No? Okay. Then it comes off the thing. Oh, is it from my home country? Yes? Okay. We spend some time on it. If not, okay, it comes back to the bottom of the list. We're always re-evaluating our priorities every single moment we come across with these challenges in our lives. So let's please remember that whenever there's a janazah, don't show up because the person was Arab or Ajam. Show up because the person was a Muslim. Number 3. Yes, sir. Yes.
Question and answer or no?
We don't have time. After Jummah.
Because it's beautiful, just add the hadith for the janazah, for example.
Yes, qira'atayn.
That makes it.
Yeah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the ajr, the incentive of going for a janazah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the Sahih hadith, a person who goes and prays the janazah of a Muslim, the reward that person will receive is 1 qirat. How much is 1 qirat? Qirat is equivalent to the ajr of Mount Uhud. Mount Uhud is a huge mountain range. You could, Ghazwa Uhud took place. Those of us that have been to that place, you can see it. Rasulullah ﷺ said on top of that, whoever stays back and attends the burial of that Muslim or Muslimah, that person will get qiratayn, double the reward. So not 1 mountain range of Uhud, 2 mountains of Uhud, ajr for that person that shows up for the janazah. Number 3, from my humble perspective as your Imam, we don't realize the magnitude of us being absent. The things that I come across almost on a daily basis, I shake my head and say to myself, where are my Muslims? Where are my Muslims? Honestly. Where are my Muslims? Okay, for example, I'm not even exaggerating, for Dhuhr Salah, like literally 30% of the time someone shows up for Dhuhr Salah. I pray by myself here. The masjid is open. Another example. At the hospital, right? I see other faith groups coming in, systematic, but I say to myself, where are my Muslims? At the county jail, I go in on a weekly basis. I see other faith groups. I'm telling you, I've met individuals at the county jails that have told me that I've been doing this for 8 to 10 years. And I'm over there just signing up and coming on board, etc. And then of course there are Muslims locked up in the county jails. Of course there are Muslims in the juvie halls. Of course there are Muslims just today, I got one request from the hospital. I'll be going, inshallah ta'ala, if I can, tonight, tomorrow morning, to visit one Muslim patient at the hospital, Lodi Memorial. So, of course there are many times where I say to myself, where are my Muslims? Where are my Muslims? And that is a perspective that I'm bringing to the table. At the maqbara, at the graveyard, where are my Muslims? When I'm here for Dhuhr Salah, where are my Muslims? For Isha Salah, where are my Muslims? Right? For parenting workshops, that I'm literally sitting here and screaming my lungs out. Only 2 people are sitting here. Where are my Muslims? Right? We're having all of these programs and all of these things taking place. Where are my Muslims? Am I doing something wrong here? Right? It's either there's something wrong with the picture or I'm crazy. Honestly. And the pain that I'm feeling is not, okay, oh my God, okay, I gotta move on in life. No, wallahi, that's not the point. The point is legitimately, where are my Muslims? Where are my Muslim brothers and sisters? So what's Islam's perspective? Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam taught us in Sahih Bukhari by Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And I've highlighted the Arabic part of this hadith which is relevant to us today. وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي حَاجَةِ أَخِيهِ كَانَ اللَّهُ فِي حَاجَتِهِ. What else do you want? Whoever is in service of another Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be in his service. Simple. This is Sahih Hadith from Bukhari. I'm not mentioning da'if or mawdu'at over here. Right? I don't want anyone to point, oh, Sahih Hadith. No, I'm bringing Bukhari back. Whoever is in the service of someone else, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in his service. وَمَنْ فَرَّجَ عَنْ مُسْلِمٍ كُرْبَةً فَرَّجَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ كُرْبَةً مِنْ كُرْبَاتِ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. Subhanallah. If we are helping someone who has this need in the community, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see to our needs in the day of judgment. These are two incentives that I'm deriving from this hadith. And I'm not even talking about who is a Muslim, and when satara Musliman satarallahu yawm al-qiyamah, whoever covers a Muslim's faults, that's a different topic on its own. Incentives. We're driven by incentives. We want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us. Right? If we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, then we better help somebody. If you want to look at it that way, fine, look at it that way. But the intention should be solely for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sad to say, I will also mention this. Unfortunately, people don't wake up until they go through that situation themselves. Sad to say. And I've seen it countless times. For example, mental illness is a real issue. I'm telling you, real issue. I've dealt with suicidal cases, successful suicides as well. Youth. Within Northern California. Unfortunately, we don't step up to the plate, we don't even pay attention to it until, alayyazu billah, something happens to us or our loved ones. Right? Something happening with our youngsters, right? We're all comfortable until, alayyazu billah, something happens to our kids and our own homes. I've seen it many times. So I don't want to go more into this, but the reality is that we tend to wake up when things get real. I'm trying to address you openly and directly that we need to wake up before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends those things our way. See what I mean? Because mental illness is real, right? Illnesses are real. Like all of these challenges, financial difficulties are real. It doesn't happen, like we don't wake up from it. We don't wake up from our khabi ghaflat, right? We don't wake up from that dream of ours, from that sleep of us being in our comfort zone until, the heat gets turned up. So we need to volunteer. There is a lot of, I'm telling you, we need to get this done by now. And I've tried, and I've been trying, and I will not give up, inshallah. Right? I'm as stubborn as that old nail that you could try to take up from that plywood. I'm not going to give up, inshallah. Right? So we need volunteers. Simple. Okay? I'm not trying to propose a multi-year plan. Okay? Simple. We need volunteers for two things. Simple. We need volunteers at California Islamic Center. Keyword, at. Of course, we need help with youth programs. We need help with education. We need help with maintenance of the building. There are, if I'm not mistaken, you could go check, 3 of the lights in the hallway are out right now. Like one of the light bulbs are out. One of the taps in the wudu fund is not working. Right? There are small things that I see, and it irritates me because I can't do anything about it myself. And of course, there's literally limited help here. There's literally like 4 or 5 brothers here, or and sisters that are wearing different hats. We need help. I'm telling you, we need help. And there's no Mr. Somebody that's going to come and do this work for us. Right? So we need help with the youth. There's a basketball draft league happening every Friday night. There are so many other things that we want to do, that I want to do, and I simply can't because my hands are tied. I could only be at one place at one time. I say jokingly, once I figured out how to be at two places at one time, then I'll get back to you. But so far I haven't figured that out yet. I could only be at one place at one time. I could only talk to one person at a time. There are so many things we need to do, but simply I cannot do it alone. So we need help here. I need your help here at CIC. For education, there's so many things that we need to do. It's not like, okay, I want to do, we need to do for our kids. And I can't do it by myself. Maintenance, I've mentioned that before. Cleaning, right? How long ago did we had a monthly cleaning here? We used to have a monthly cleaning here. What happened? Right? Things are piling up. Right? There's weeds growing everywhere. We need power wash this place, clean the windows. Ramadan is coming up. We need to get this done. Now, one is to volunteer at CIC. There's plenty of work. Number two, volunteer with California Islamic Center. Two things that I'm already doing this, alhamdulillah, but whoever is interested, please reach out to me. One is volunteering at the Lodi Memorial Hospital. Whoever is interested, I reached out to the community a few months ago, and at the end of the day, I only got one brother and one Muslim that had signed up. I literally passed out a sign-up sheet. Only got one brother and one sister, and they haven't even started yet. Literally, they haven't even started yet. Yes, brother, you're down, inshallah. So, we need help at the Lodi Memorial. We need to show up as Muslims and show to them that, okay, Muslims are actually in the community. Number two, we'll talk more about it. Honestly speaking, we're over time. Honestly speaking, when we go to the hospital, the fact that we go visit a Muslim, it makes their day. I'm not here tooting my horn, but a lot of times when I've showed up, they literally have cried. Of course. But they've literally cried that, like, I don't know you, you don't know me, and like what brought you here? Then I try to explain to them that, okay, I'm your imam and I'm wearing this badge and all. We need help with the San Joaquin County Jail. So here's the thing. The simple thing is, we need this help, whoever is available to help in this regard, please see me. And I know I'm busy after Jummah. It's okay. Come to another salah. I'm here 5 times a day, literally throughout the week. It's okay. If you want to volunteer, it's okay to come. Please come for Maghrib tonight, or come for Fajr tomorrow. And talk to me about this as well. Because honestly speaking, every single Jummah, it takes me at least a half an hour to get home. It's a good thing, right? I get to talk to a lot of people and exchange phone numbers, etc. So if you really want to do this, then really get down and reach out to me, inshallah ta'ala. Some announcements I'm going to make briefly. Tonight we have our parenting workshops. A parenting workshop happening. We had one last Friday. We have one this upcoming tonight as well. And we have it for 2 more Fridays, inshallah. Last Friday, I hate to say this, I've literally had 2 or 3 people sitting in the back. We need to take advantage of these programs. Number 3, we have a youth conference happening on April 7th. And for this, I need donations. There are approximately 50 to 100 kids coming in from the Bay Area, local, Lodi, Stockton, Sacramento. For this, I need donations. So whoever is able to donate for this, please reach out to me. $20, $30, $100, whatever it is, this money will go directly to this youth conference, inshallah. And what the money is going to be used for? Literally feeding these kids.